Welcome back, welcome back. Rick Schoenberger is with us here in the studios, and for a lot of people that live in Harrison, there's going to be a special election coming up, actually next month, and it's going to be voting on the proposed Harrison, I guess it's going to be called a recplex or rec center or whatever, and you have been, I wouldn't call you an opponent of the idea. It's just that the meetings that you've been in, and that's why I wanted for you to be on the show today, is to talk about maybe the other side of the coin. Because last week we had Wade from the city, and he was talking about all the amenities and the plan of getting this brought into Harrison. The vote's going to be coming up, November?
Early voting starts November 5th, and the actual vote's on November 12th.
Okay. And some of the questions that you've asked kind of question maybe the reasoning or the logic or why we need it now and those kind of things. You're not completely opposed to a recreation center, but what is your opposition?
Right. Okay, number one, they're rushing this past the voters and that. They're not really telling the whole truth, because they sit there and they say that the estimation of $39.9 million is off a $200 a square foot estimate. Well, that's fine. Jerry Jackson came on with that it's 2.3 he's been offered for the bond. So why don't we look at the estimates of what the total cost is going to be? Because your interest is going to be about $5 million. That was brought up and answered in city council. Then we have management fees on top of that. We're bumping $50 million on this thing really quick. The other part of that is I own 2 buildings and a business downtown on the square. And in the last year, I've heard the lake's getting tore out, police and fire and city hall's moving from downtown, and we're going to fill in the pool and make a basketball court out of it and move everything north side of town. As a business owner and part of Harrison, I mean, I don't have the luxuries of just pulling my rent and going somewhere else. It's a slosh effect. And we've got perfectly good soccer fields down there. We got stuff coming up. They keep on saying it's a floodplain. Well, if you go look at the plane of that, it can be brought up, and it's not that much. And we could continue there, and at the end of it, all the way to the soccer fields, past the school part, the football field could be a music amphitheater. You know, all this stuff can look ahead. Plus, we own that property already.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, it's right now my main thing is get out and vote. The reason why they call a special election out there is because only about 7% of the normal voters will show up. Most of them are yeses. So right now I've told the city, let's vote. I've got 3 billboards, you know, stating let's vote. Mine, a couple of them are vote no.
Well, I think that's what's good about a democratic society is we can voice our opinion, whether it's good or bad or whatever. And I think that it's good to know the pitfalls, if there are any, going forward. Right.
Well, they keep on comparing us to Batesville. Batesville is a whole different category. Their average household income is $10,000, $11,000 more than us. They went for $50 million on their first go at it, and it failed. And when they brought it back up, they came at $24 million, and they passed by 60%. So cutting it all the way in half, they just got 11% more of the vote.
Well, go ahead. Yeah,
well, I was going to, so location is one of the issues as far as, and also the cost, because you say we own the land already down by the soccer complex, so that's kind of what you're...
Exactly. Well, and the other thing is, too, a lot of things within that center that they're talking about is direct competition against businesses in town. And I don't think the city should ever go into direct competition with anybody in town.
Yeah, and that's been a point that a lot of people have raised, that the city's going into a business, and they should be governing. And I don't know if that's bad or good. It's just that the whole idea for this interview is to give people more information where they can go out and make an educated vote.
Exactly. No. And I mean, the people that are involved in this, Chuck Eddington has done a phenomenal job since he's been here on what he has. Wade Phillips, I love him. I love where he's at. And Luke, same thing. He has the pulse of our city, and he has it. But this one here is just, in the underlying, when I talk to a lot of people in town, they're not really, they're not talking verbally on it, but they will say, yeah, it'd be a good thing, but it's way too much money.
What would you like to see? I mean, I think that, you know, we talked before the show, you would like to see a recreation center at some point in time.
Yeah.
What would you like, instead of having this election done next month, what would you like to see?
Well, I'd like them to come back. There's grants they could look at. There's a lot of stuff that they have not looked at to make this cheaper. The other thing is we don't need to build it on the back of the other ball fields. We need to keep stuff downtown. We need to keep the square alive. We need to keep our town going. You go south of Little Rock to the towns are boarded up. So every little bit you pull out of there, look at Pine Street. School pulled out, gas stations closed, businesses are drying up, coming up. Well, let's just continue with the square and go down the strip, and it's just, there's an eco effect to anything. And when you do one action, there is a reaction.
Yeah, okay. Well, we have your number up on the screen. You want people to call you if they want to talk about?
Sure, not a problem.
Okay.
Now, also, I put it out to the county people. They feel like they're not being represented in this and all. You can make a difference. When it's the November 5th to the 12th, call your friends in the city. Just have them vote. Don't try to push their vote one way or the other, but have them vote. And I think if people just get out and vote on this, it'll fail.
Okay.
And that because half the people don't want a new tax. And I would like to see the 0.25 be voted in so the city has more for the rec center. I have followed that really close with the CVV and everything that they've done, putting up light poles and everything. And if we want better parks, we need to give them a little bit of money.
Yeah.
But other than that, the rec center needs to be slated, come back 2 years from now with a lot better plan with the community involvement.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good information.
Thoughts.
And if you have any thoughts about this, please do get out and vote. There's a lot of information on Facebook pages that you can go and look at. I know the city has theirs. Give Rick a call if you'd like to talk more about this thing. But the biggest thing is to get out and vote. The early voting is starting early November, and it goes till when?
Till the 12th. 12th is the final.
All right. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you
Appreciate you
very
coming
much.
Thanks, guys.
by.
Appreciate it.
Up next, we have, who do we have?
Joel
Yeah.
Gallegos with Razorback Ribs. Stay with us.